Hello everyone, Mr. Hissner here, and today we are going to be looking at vertical angles and linear pairs with number and also using algebra. So we should get used to this succession. We are given a topic, we notes, definitions, how to write the insignia, the notation, the definitions of these things, using them, relating them to other things, and then looking at numbers, algebra, solving for unknown values. And today that is where we are going to begin. So here I have our first example, and our first example says, or is rather, this figure. It is this figure. So one thing I like to look for is vertical angles and linear pairs. So let's look for a vertical angle first. These are angles that are right across from each other, and guess what? They are congruent. So they're the same measure. So the measure of angle y is 43 degrees. Let's look for a linear pair. How about, so I know angle y is 43 degrees. What about angle y and angle x? Look at that. These two angles together form a straight line. So how can we find that? Well, we know that the measure of angle y plus the measure of angle x is going to be equal to the whole thing, right? And so long story short is, is going to be to the measure of what we can call the new angle A, whatever. But the moral of the story here is that we're going to take the total. So this is going to be, because they're supplementary, right? They're supplementary. And so this is going to be 180 degrees. And so we have 43 plus our unknown measure is equal to 180 degrees. What are we going to do here? Well, this is the one we want to solve for, so that means that we're going to have to balance this equation, subtract 43 from both sides. And we find that the measure of angle x, so here I gotta type measure of angle x, so the measure of angle x is equal to, it looks like this is going to be 137 degrees. And if you notice that angle x and angle z are also have an angle relation. These angles are right across from each other. They're directly across from each other. These are vertical angles. And so, as we saw before, vertical angles are congruent. So this is my second pair of congruent angles. So I'm going to do two hash marks, right? First hash mark, first pair, second pair, two hash marks. So we know that the measure of angle z, is equal to, again, that 137, because x was 137 as well. Vertical angles, linear pairs, vertical angles, linear pairs. Okay, let's look at our next example. We're told that angles 1 and 2 form a linear pair. If the measure of angle 1 is 113 degrees, find the measure of angle 2. So what we need to do here is draw our figure for the vertical, or for the linear pair rather. So here we go. Here is, let's just put a 1 and a 2 here. And what are we told? Well, we're told that the measure of angle 1 is 113 degrees. So that's a hot tamale. And what do we need to do? We need to solve for the other angle. So over here, I'm just going to, again, write what we have going on here. We have the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is equal to, that's right, it's equal to 180 degrees, because these form a straight angle. These form a straight line. Straight angles are 180 degrees. And we were told that the measure of angle 1 is 113 degrees. So we just need to take that 113, and what we need to find, well, we need to look for the measure of angle 2. And so this is our equation. These two cancel, and what we are left with is the measure of angle 2. And it is equal to 180 minus 113. 180 minus 113. How about 170? How about 167? And these are degrees. Oh, just 67, my bad. 67 degrees, 67 degrees. So again, we're using words, language, right? And we're making figure, geometry, then using what we're told, make an equation, solve the equation. Okay? Now let's mix them up. Here we got both. We want to find DCE. So I'm just going to write this over here. Find the measure. So find the measure of angle DCE. That's DEE. Okay, so now we have a figure and we're told something. We are told that A and B, the line AB is this thing with CD. CD. So that symbol is the symbol for perpendicular. Perpendicular. So these are perpendicular figures. So that means that when they at their intersection, they make a right angle. They make a right angle. So here is a right angle. And then we're told that the measure of DCE, so this one in here is 7x minus or plus 2. Then we're told that the measure of angle ECB is x plus 8, and that's this one in here. And we want to find DCE. So we want to find this one. We want to find our missing angle in here in green. So we know that we're going to have to add some two things together, right? We know that we're going to have to take the measure of angle DCE plus the measure of angle ECB, and it's going to have to be equal to some value. But my question is to you all, is that this is a straight line, right? AB is a line here. This is a straight line. So this forms a straight angle. And what's the measure of a straight angle? 180 degrees, right? Okay, so we have 90 here in yellow. This angle is 90, right? This one is unknown. Like the sum of these two are unknown, so I'm going to put x because it's unknown. But we know that they'll add together to equal 180. So what is the total angle here? What is the measure of angle DCB? Something plus 90 is equal to 180. We can solve this, or you'll just find that x is equal to 90. If this angle is 90, and these two angles, or all these angles, they all add up to 180. They all create a straight angle, right? Then that means that this whole angle, the measure of angle DCB, has to be 90. And so the green one and the pink one have to add together to 90 degrees. And now we have what we need to solve this equation. So I'm just going to dump these values in here. 7x plus 2 plus 8x plus 8. And it's equal to our whole angle there. The sum of those two will equal 90. So x plus 7x is 8x. And then we have a plus 2 plus 8. That's going to be plus 10. And this is 90. And now we just need to subtract this 10 from both sides, marking off that that will cancel. And we have 8x is equal to 80. So this is 8 times some number is equal to 80. Well, that number is 10. And again, we wanted to find DCE, and DCE was our measure here in green, and that was 7 times x plus 2, and we're just going to dump this value in here. So 7 times 10 plus 2, that is 72. The measure of angle DCE is 72. So again, the key here was knowing the insignia, and this should be a pattern now. We are responsible for knowing that upside down T's like this mean that they're perpendicular. Excuse me, we're also responsible for knowing that perpendicular means 90 degrees. If all three of these things add up to 90, and this one is 90, then that means these two have to add up to 90. If all three of these things add up to 180, and this one is 90, that means that these two will add up to 90, because 90 plus 90 is equal to 180. That's equal to the straight angle. Okay, so let us look at one more. Here we go with the words. It says R and S are complementary angles. If angle R, so these are complementary angles. If angle R is this and angle S is that, find angle R. Well, what is the key to complementary angles? They have a angle sum of how many? Which letter comes first in the alphabet, C or S? So which number is lower? And yes, you will find that complementary, because C comes before S in the alphabet, it is the smaller letter, it is the smaller number. It is the smaller number. So we can just dump our values in here. 12x minus 3 plus 7x minus 2 is equal to 90. And that is because they are complementary. Two angles add up to 90 degrees, thus they are complementary. And so here we have 12x plus 7x's is 19x's, and minus 3 minus 2, that is a negative 5, equal to 90. So I'm going to go ahead and balance my equation here. These two are canceling, so I have 19x is equal to 95. And of course, we all know our 19 times tables, so we can just recognize that x here is going to be 5, or we can, of course, divide both sides by 19, right? And now we want to find the measure of angle R. So we want to find the measure of angle R, and the measure of angle R was 12 times x minus 3. So I'm going to take my x value, and I'm going to do the old dump it in. So 5. 12 times 5 is 60. 60 minus 3 is 57. And that is my final answer. So again here, we need to use that literacy. We need to use these definitions. One of the reasons why I said it is so important to have these written down somewhere where you can reference them, where you can look back and see, hey, what does that mean? What is complementary? What do vertical angles look like? What is a linear pair? Of course it's your favorite fruit, but what does it look like in geometry, right? And so make sure you have these references close by so you can reference them, look at them, access them very easily, and that way we can see how to set up our problems, how to solve for unknown values. And here, it was simply recognizing that complementary angles are angles that add up to 90. So we just took our two angles and added them to 90 degrees, solved for x, and then used that value to get our final answer here. Our final answer was to find the measure of R. All right, guys, thanks for watching.